In fact, Mullen Automotive Chairman, CEO David Michery, along with Christian Atter, law managing partner Wes Christian, who's been on our show before. And David, thanks for joining the show. For folks who aren't familiar with it and say, well, why would we be talking about a 60-cent stock? I do want to point out your average daily volume is 274 million shares a day. You've got quite a huge following of retail investors who have fallen in love with your stock. Many of them are disappointed. I want to talk to you about a series of things, but let's begin first and foremost with this lawsuit that you have against these brokerage firms. What are you alleging here?
Well, we've sent a loud and clear message to the world that we're not going to stand by and allow illegal short selling of our stock, and hopefully we can be the change that makes things different here and gets people to pay attention to what's going on, specifically with Mullen and all the other companies out there that have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis. Wes Christian, who is quarterbacking this entire lawsuit, could elaborate as to the merits of the lawsuit.
Wes, without adjudicating it, the whole thing here, of course, I know that you've helped these sort of situations before. Are you alleging that these firms are doing it, or that they're just simply allowing it to happen?
No, Charles. Well, first, Charles, thank you for having me back again, buddy. We appreciate it. I know this is a passionate subject for you, too. What we're alleging, simple version, is the defendants in this case illegally violated Rule 15C33, which is the customer protection rule, as well as Rule 14B1, both of which stem out of them either short selling shares illegally by not having a proper borrow. Why? Because they were using customers' accounts, which violates Rule 15C33, and in doing so, and knowing that there's going to be shares coming in these conversions that happened.
Right.
And then when those conversions happen, they use those shares to repay their customers' account shares, or similarly, they illegally lent those shares to someone else that did short selling. What we do know, Charles, just to give you some basic optics, 65 million shares failed to deliver in June of 2023. We have verified from the brokers, the defendants in this case, Charles, own records that they sent to Broadridge, that they had 19 million to 54 million shares of imbalances.
Right.
What that means is they reported more shares that they had beneficially owned than they had at the DTC. That's what we call imbalances.
Right. Okay.
Once those are ongoing and systemic, then it's signs of illegal short selling.
All right. By the way, we reached out to all of these firms. Schwab got back to us. I'll read their statement. This lawsuit spins an outlandish conspiracy theory that blames Schwab for the performance of Mullen stock, but the complaint is long on salacious allegations and short on truth. The truth is that Schwab always acted professionally, legally, and ethically in this manner. David, let me go back to the company. A lot of concerns about your salary, the losses. I went through the last quarter. One thing that jumped out at me on general and administrative spending, $31 million. Just as a business itself, why are you spending $31 million on SG&A costs and things like that? People are saying you've taken a lot of money, you've paid yourself a lot of money, and this kind of spending, it just doesn't make sense for a small company like yours.
Well, in relation to let's say compensation, whatever compensation that was awarded me in my employment contract, or compensation pursuant to awards were given. And
David, can you hear me? All right, you're fading out, and I've got 20 seconds. One last thing: these stock splits. Okay, I read your firm. What the firm is saying is that these stock splits were done to stay compliant with NASDAQ listings. But every time you split your stock, it becomes fodder for the shorts. I mean, when you go 1 for 25 and then one for authorized 1 for 100, you do 1 for 9. We know that the shorts pounce. So, folks, it looks like we're having some audio issues with David. We're running out of time. We'll pick this up again. We want to go over these stock splits, which to me are just nuts. They're nuts. All you're doing is helping the shorts. We'll also talk about the role of dark pools, because it really seems nefarious to me.